Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up, use, and install Orca Slicer. What is a slicer? A slicer is a program that cuts your 3D objects into layers, which is how a 3D printer prints. If you ever seen one at play, you know that it starts with the first layer and then slowly builds up until it's revealed the entire model. So why should we use a slicer? If you directly feed your 3D model to your 3D printer, nothing's gonna happen. You have to first put your model into a slicer, where it converts each of the layers into G-code, a program that your 3D printer can understand. This is Orca Slicer, known to many as the best slicer. Why is that? Orca Slicer is based off of Bamboo Slicer, which is based off of Prusa Slicer, which is based off of Super Slicer. There's a whole history. But what's so good about Orca Slicer is its wide range of printers and filaments, along with the easy calibration and the fact that it's continuously being upgraded. So what are we waiting for? Let's dive right in. This is the Orca Slicer website, orca-slicer.com, and I'll link it in the description if you want to install it for yourself. Let's go to download now. Over here you can see the three OS, Windows, Mac, and Linux. I'm running a Windows computer right now, so I'll click download for Windows. When you install Orca Slicer, you'll see a screen that looks like this, the setup wizard. First, it'll ask you to select your region, so I'm logging in from North America. Next, it'll ask you to choose your printers, and here's what I meant when I said they had a wide variety of printers. Look how many there are. Right now, I'm running a Bamboo Lab A1 with a 0.4mm nozzle, so I'll plug that in right now. You can choose as many printers as you want, and you can also choose all and clear all. Next, you're going to choose your filament. I recommend that you choose it for all of your printers and every filament type. Over here, if you don't know what printer you're going to be printing with, just click all. Eventually, you can go down and select the ones that you really need. So I'm using some Bamboo Lab PLA and some Sunlu PLA. Next is stealth mode. I generally don't keep this activated, but you can if you need. And lastly, you have to install the Bamboo Lab printer, Bamboo Network printer plugin. Click here and click finish. Now, if you want to enable wireless connectivity, all you have to do is follow along with the wizard and it will prompt you when. All you have to do is enter some keys and some information from your printer and you should be set. Now, if you have a MakerWorld account, you can click here at login and register and just enter your information. Once you've entered your details, be sure to synchronize your personal data. Alright, you finished the installation, you finished the setup, and now you're ready to start printing. Let's get right into it. There are two ways you can import a project. The first way is by going Open Project and clicking on your 3MF file. For this example, I'm going to be using an Apple Watch holder that I designed. The other way is to create a new project, go to File, Import, and import your file. One benefit of doing it with the file import method is that you can take in multiple different types, such as STL, STEP, OBJ, and 3MF, anything you need. Now that you've imported your file, the next step is to tweak some settings. Click over here on Global. Here, you have a list of all the different 3D printing settings that you'll ever need. We have layer height, we have infill, strength, support, different speed settings, and even settings if you have an AMS to print in multicolors. There's even a time-lapse functionality over here. Another thing we have to set is our 3D printer and filament. Right now, I'm using my calibrated Bamboo Lab and my calibrated Sunlu PLA. You can change your filament profile by clicking on it, then clicking on edit, and then maybe changing something. I don't know. Maybe I'll change the recommended nozzle temperature to 200 degrees Celsius. And I can click save over here to save this as a copy. I'm not going to save it right now. Let's put this back to Sunlu PLA. To orient your model, use the left mouse button to drag like this, and you can orbit around your model. To pan, use the right mouse button. You can automatically arrange your objects on the plate and orient them however is needed. So, the slicer suggests that I'll print faster going this way. I can also auto-orient the models. Say I rotated it like this. If I click on auto-orient, it'll automatically put it to the correct orientation, which will allow for the easiest printing. Some other features include the support generation. For example, I could go here and I could enable the supports and see what I want. You can also paint supports directly onto your model using support painting. You have seam painting, which allows you to place your seam in a specific area. You can emboss text into your model. You can also cut your model, and this is a very useful feature. There are two modes to cut: planar, which basically just cuts it in two parts and you can glue it afterwards, or dovetail, which allows you to basically slide the models into each other after they print. Sometimes I use the planar model just to print a small section of my model to make sure it'll fit with whatever I need it to do. Some other features include scale, rotate, and move. You can also use variable layer height, which allows for some parts to be more high quality than the others. You can add in basic models or extra geometry using the by right-clicking on the plate and using the add primitive, add handy models, and add models. The handy models are especially useful for calibration. Right here, I can import a 3D benchy. Once I decide on my model and its settings, I'm ready to slice. Oh, and side note, you can also add multiple build plates to your model. If you're printing something especially large or you want to print it in multicolor without an AMS, it makes sense to divide it onto different build plates. Each plate can have its own filament presets, its own printer presets, and its own settings, which allow it to be a lot easier to quickly shoot off your prints. Alright, now that we're ready, I'll click on this benchy and click Slice Plate. Alright, sometimes when slicing a large model, it'll take a lot of time, so you really don't want to be slicing too often. Make sure you get your settings pretty good. You can drag down this slicer to see all the different layers that the printer prints. It starts with here at layer 1 and slowly goes up. This part in the side has a lot of information. It shows that this benchy will take 12 grams of filament. Its total time will be 41 minutes. Well, its printing time will be 41 minutes. Its total time, which includes a little calibration, will take 47 minutes. It'll cost me 22 cents to print, and it'll take 3.91 meters of filament. You can select and deselect these different icons to show different parts of your model. For example, if you want to see the infill, deselect all the other parts. I don't want the solid infill. And now you can see the infill pattern right here. Infill is the thing that is inside your 3D printer model. If it was just solid, it would take a lot of material, which is why we use infill. Alright. Other things you can do are check the filament right here. You can see this is all white filament. The speed, it shows the faster and slower places. the fastest color right here is yellow, and the slower places are blue. It prints these parts slower because they're on overhangs. Layer height, everything's consistent here. Line width, flow, layer time with logarithm, and fan speed, and temperature. So, one of these really important things is flow, which is helpful in flow calibration. These other things are also useful in other types of calibration, like temperature calibration, and for checking speed. But right now, we just want to print our model, so let's go back to line type. Down here, you can see the machine's G-code. There is definitely a lot more, but this is how much it'll show you right now. Alright, are we ready to print? If you're ready, click Print Plate. I selected my printer, my Bamboo A1, which I got in 2024 right here. This is what I named my printer. You can select different options here. So I want it to perform bed leveling and flow dynamics calibration, but I don't want it to take a time lapse. Click Send. Alright, now I'll jump you to the device page. Alright, on the screen you can see everything that's happening. The first thing I'll show you is this Bamboo A1 2024. What does that mean? Well, my printer that I'm connected to right now, I named it the Bamboo A1 2024. You can bind other devices here using the pin code and axis code. On the main screen, there's a ton of different options. First thing, let's see the control section. Alright, this is the extruder. By clicking the top and bottom buttons, you can move the filament through the extruder and extrude some filament. This is useful if you're checking for blobs or anything like that in your filament, which shows that you need to dry it. You can also click Unload right here to unload your filament. The unload and load options are also down here. Right here, you can see your nozzle temperature, bed temperature, and your chamber temperature. Because I have an A1, it doesn't really show the chamber temperature. It also shows my speed, which is at 100%, my part cooling fan, and my lamp, which I can turn on and off. Right here, you can move the axes. You can move the print head around the axes, the Y and the X. This often helps you if you need to take out something from underneath your nozzle. Alright, up here we also have the printer parts. I'm using a hardened steel nozzle with a 0.4mm diameter, and the print options. These are all really helpful, but I'd recommend at least keeping auto recovery and filament tangle detection on. These really help with potential errors and outside factors like power loss and tangles in your spool, which can easily destroy a print without these features. Over here, we have the filament we're using. Right now, connected to my printer, I've hooked up Sunloop PLA Plus, and my color is white. You can obviously change this whenever you want. The process is pretty much the exact same for the AMS, and while you may not find a use for it if you're using an external spool, it's really important with your AMS to make sure your printer is printing the correct colors at the correct places. Down here at this bar, we can see the model we're printing, how much of it is done, what layer it's on, how much time is left, and when it will end. We can also see the total cost in time and filament. We have the control to pause and stop our prints. Over here, we have the video feature. Even though the A1 and even the P1's cameras are pretty bad, we can still tell whether our model is absolutely failing or if it's going rather well. We also have access to our micro SD card, time lapse, and video functionalities. Over here in the micro SD card, our printer stores its time-lapse and model files. Uploading a model to the 3D printer's SD card is often really helpful because it allows you to reprint it multiple times without needing your computer or any device. You just click on your printer screen, open the micro SD card, and you'll be good to go. From time to time, I just delete a few of these models to make sure that my printer does have enough space. Alright, next we'll go to update. If you're running some printer other than a Bamboo Lab machine, I'd recommend that you update right away if you have any updates. But if you're running a Bamboo Lab, don't. Right now I'm running version 0.01.04.00.00. If I updated to the latest model, it wouldn't allow me to use Orca Slicer. This is because of Bamboo Lab's new concerns about privacy and other stuff. And lastly, we have the health management system, and you'll see that this is empty. Well, that's a good thing. The health management system sends us error messages whenever there's firmware or hardware issues with our printer. Next, in the project tab, we can see the details of our model. This model isn't on MakerWorld or anything, so there really doesn't have that many details. But you can edit the project info here. So say the build plate brain, perhaps. And the license, I just won't set a license for now, we'll see. I can add pictures here, I can add the bill of materials, an assembly guide, and any other info. And lastly, we have the calibration. Your printer should have a built-in calibration, but if you want to calibrate your filament even more, like I did, you can use this flow dynamics calibration and this flow rate calibration. Be careful with the flow rate calibration. You need to perform it very precisely, or you may risk clogging your nozzle or worse. The flow dynamics calibration, on the other hand, is pretty easy. You just have to click on manual calibration, and you'll soon be done. I'll release videos on more calibration later. Alright, and now you're done with Orca Slicer. What are you waiting for? Download it, install it, set it up, and get ready to print your own models. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps me deliver more content out to y'all. Alright, the 3D bench is finished. Let's take a look. We can see that while this is a pretty good boat, there are a few problems. For example, right here on the back, the text hasn't printed all that nice. Also, there's some small problems with the overhangs over here and banding all across the print. Overall, not bad, but it could definitely be better. So, how do we make it better? Through calibration, of course. By calibrating our printer and our filament, we'll be able to make really nice, functional, and beautiful prints. In the next series of videos, I'll be showing you how to calibrate your filament and your printer using Orca Slicer. See you then!